Hello and welcome to my channel, Billboardsbuilds. I'm Chet, aka Billboard, and this is my channel. If you're a new viewer, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, thank you. Please flip that thumbs up like a hitchhiker. Like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. This should be a quick video. It's going to be a couple shout outs and answer to 2 community questions. So first shout out, I got this from Vinny at Pit Stop Scale Model Garage. This is really cool. I got into his 67 to 69 Camaro group build, and he sent this out to everyone who did the build. It was really nice. Thank you, Vinny. Make sure you go check out his channel, Pit Stop Scale Model Garage. The next one is from Terry, or known as T2. His channel is Super Sport Model Shops. Go make sure you check out his channel. Tell him I sent you. Here's a shop card. He's got some nice words on the back. But he also sent me, as you all know, as I've mentioned, I'm doing a model for a tournament, 65 Bonneville. And he sent me something I'm going to try to incorporate into the back of it. He sent me a wing. It's either from a Daytona or a it might be a Daytona. Daytona's straighter up and Superbirds lean more back. That might be the Daytona one, I'm not sure. But I'm going to try to incorporate this into my build. Because it just needs something, a little extra on this. This is where I'm at so far on it. And I opened the trunk. And yes, I already checked. I could put the wing there and the trunk will still be able to open. So that's where that is. Now, community questions. Paul at Left Coast Model Workshop, I think, or Left Coast Model Cars. It'll be. I'll try to. I'll put that in for the video. But he asked, what inspires you on the type of models you build? I think was the gist of his community question. I saw a couple videos that people posted, so I figured I'll answer that. Well, as you can see, I'm wearing my Raceway Park shirt from Englishtown, New Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey. I grew up probably within a half an hour of Raceway Park. I'm not sure exactly, but I think it used to take like a half an hour to get there. Raceway Park was not in Englishtown, New Jersey. Raceway Park was in Old Bridge, New Jersey, but their zip code was Englishtown. Englishtown was actually the next town over. It was the big town. Old Bridge was mostly all farms. And when they bought the property, it was farmland. The track opened, not sure if it was 65 or 66. It opened before I was born in 67. It was already open when I was born. But since I was a real young kid, we used to go to Englishtown all the time. And my stepfather knew some people who owned body shop, about 4 blocks from from the house I grew up in. Lee's Auto Body. Lee owned the body shop, a service station with a repair shop, and a small used car lot, Pine Top Sales. And Lee always, he had race cars. In the 60s, he had I think it was a 65 Plymouth factory super stock with a Hemi. Then he got out of drag racing for a while. Then he got back into it. He ran, I believe he ran super stock in the 60s, but it was getting too expensive. I had read this. I remember talking to Lee one day and asking him why he doesn't run a Hemi, because he was running 440s, and he says he ran a Hemi in the 60s and he'll never run it again because he spent more time retorquing everything on the engine than actually racing. But he always had Barracuda, Belvedere. He had all Chryslers with 440s in them. In the mid to late 80s, mid 80s probably, I bought a 71 Dodge Demon with a 440. So I always liked Mopars. I like all things. I love Mopars. I love their. I had my very first car was a 76 Volare with a 318, and I can get that to smoke the back tires really well. That was a fun car. It was kind of like a orange cream color. But yeah, so I had the 71 Dodge Demon with the 440. And it was a fun car. I had issues with the car, but it was a fun car. It was a bracket car that I registered and drove on the street. I blew the mufflers apart, and it ran. I ran it with open exhaust until I decided to start rebuilding it, and then I never finished it. But that's another story. But yeah, so my influence has always been drag racing and muscle cars, and I tend to lean more Mopars than. I don't have anything against Chevys. I'll make fun of them. Same with Ford. I don't really have much against Ford other than they're not a Chrysler. Although I love NASCAR, and Rusty Wallace drove Pontiacs and Fords, and Penske's had Pontiacs and Fords and Chevys, and or I think they had Chevys, but because I'm a Penske fan. But yeah, so that's my influence. How I got started building models when I was a kid, going to a drag strip all the time. And this was in the 70s. Model building was very prevalent, and a lot of my friends also built models. So I used to build models as a kid. I never was really good when I was a kid. They were basically glue bombs with a lot of paint, and most of the painting I did, if I tried a rattle can, I'd have all runs and drips everywhere, and if I did brush, I'd have brush marks everywhere. And I'd get glue on everything. I'd get glue on the windshield. And I don't have any of the kits from when I was a kid. They all got destroyed over the years. And I just built them because I had fun building them. I did build a truck when I was in 6th grade and used it for show and tell. It was a Bison tractor. That one came out pretty good. I remember that. But yeah, so I grew up around drag racing, and I grew up around Mopars. Funny story, when I was a kid, went so much into drag racing, my stepfather knew one of the shops in Fords, New Jersey. They had the Fireball Monza being worked on there, and we went, and I was there as they were working on the Fireball Monza. We had somebody that lived in my town that ran a Top Fuel dragster in the 70s, the Shadow, Larry Booker. He took the car out on his street and did a burnout and tore up the street, and they had he had to pay to repave the street. But yeah, that's where my influences come from. That and watching movies like American Graffiti and stuff. I always loved cars. Hot rods, drag racing. I like NASCAR. Went to car shows. So like I said, I can appreciate all three major car manufacturers. I once had an AMC Matador. I had Broncos, Blazers. Yeah, so. But I hope that answered Paul's questions. Now, for the other question, the other community question, Jason over at Blue Ox Model Shop, he posed the question about tattoos. And do you have tattoos that have a meaning for you and what they are? I have a total of 9 tattoos, and just about every single one has some meaning to me. So I'll start with my very first tattoo. I'll probably go pretty much in the order I got them. My first tattoo is this one. It's starting to fade. I got this when I was in my early 20s, but I'm a big fan of Southern rock. And so this was for Leonard Skinner, Freebird. That was my first one. It was a nod to Leonard Skinner. This one was my second tattoo. I'm a big fan of dogs and wolves, so this is the wolf within. This tattoo we're not going to talk about. Me and my buddy went to Florida, and we went to Florida twice. The first year we went to Florida, we were staying at both times we stayed at his aunt and uncle's house, and we walked into a tattoo shop in Port Charlotte, and I was flipping through. They have the book with all the different tattoos, and they had one that looked really cool. I really liked it. It was a lion cub laying next to a log. I thought that looked sharp. But I like wolves. So I asked the tattoo artist if she could change it from a lion cub to a wolf. And she did. So I got that tattoo. Like I said, we went there a couple times. 2 years later, we went back to the same shop. She remembered me from when I got that, and she even showed me that she had a picture of that in her book. So I got the steer skull here, similar to what the Outlaws have on one of their albums. And funny story is, so I grew up in New Jersey. In the 90s, they had a arena football team called the Red Dogs. It was kind of named after the beer. Most of the owners were former New York Giants, and there was a New York Jet that owned it. Harry Carson and Joe Morris were two of the New York Giants, and if you were a season ticket holder, they had a meet and greet where you got to meet the team. It was before the season started. You got to meet the team, and you got to meet the owners. So I was in line to get Harry Carson's autograph, and he saw the steer skull tattoo, and I'm standing in line. I'm 6'3", over 400 pounds. Harry Carson sees the tattoo. He's like, "Tell me, is that a steer skull or a moo cow?" He goes, "I think it's a moo cow." I was like, what am I going to say to Harry Carson? Can I have your autograph? And then I met Joe Morris, and he was a really nice guy. And I had a good time. So that's that. The next tattoo I got, it's actually off of a Michael Crichton book, because I thought it looked cool. It's a shield with a Viking skull and 2 crossed swords. And this was done at a friend's basement, and he put all kinds of little designs all around the shield that over the years it's blurred out, you don't see them. And as he's doing it, he's complaining about the little intricate designs he's drawing. And I'm like, you're complaining. I'm the one getting stuck with needles for that. And I said, and you decided to add them. But he did most of my tattoos. And I think that was the next one. And then I like I said, I'm a big Southern rock fan. I like Molly Hatchet. So I had a friend of mine, and I showed him an album cover of a horse up on its hind legs that had a Viking warrior on it. But I didn't want the Viking warrior. I wanted it to have a woman on it, like a who's that one? I can't think of the one now that was known to ride out of town naked on a horse. But I wanted her to have a rifle and a handgun in her hands. And so he designed it and he drew it. And then my friend, he did the outline, and then he got messed up with drugs and stuff. And so my friend, Big Ed, finished it. And then, staying with Molly, actually this one might have been before that one, I don't remember. But I love the album cover of Molly Hatchet's that has the Frank Frazzetto Death Dealer. So over here, I got the Death Dealer, and Ed did that one. And then there was a band that had, well, when I was up in 98, it was the year I got my Harley Davidson. Well, I got my Harley Davidson in 97, but it's a 98 Sprinter. And in 98, a bunch of us from New Jersey, we were all part of the Trenton Hog group. For those that don't know, that's Harley's owners group. We were all members out of Trenton because that's where I bought the motorcycle from, which was about 45 minutes to an hour south of where we lived. So a group of us that lived by me, we rode down to Trenton to meet everyone else up and then ride all the way up to Laconia. And I said to them, why don't we just have them meet us up here since they got to go right by us? But we went an hour south to come back an hour to ride all the way up to Laconia another 7 hours. But I had a shirt on that had writing on it, and it was kind of like neon letters or whatever. And I walked into camp, and the one just woke up and comes out of his tent. He took one look at my shirt. You look like an effing billboard. So from then on, I got nicknamed Billboard, which is the name of my channel, Billboardsbuilds, because everyone called me Billboard. So there's a Southern rock group. They're not really that common or whatever, but they had an album out called. The band name was Copperhead. And I thought the design on the album cover looked really cool. But instead of saying Copperhead in the middle, I wanted it to say Billboard. So my friend Big Ed did it. I wasn't thinking about it when he did it, when he showed me he'd drawn up, but he put a hyphen between Bill and Board because he thought it was two names. So there's a hyphen. But it should not have a hyphen. But that's... I don't know if you can see that real well. It's got the two flags coming down. It's got the copperhead. It's got crossed swords. So, yeah. Yeah, that's it. And then I had that one last one that you saw earlier, the wings, and that's that. But I hope that answered Jason's question. I hope everyone has a good day. God bless. Try to stay cool. Stay out of the weather. I'm out.